Mega Man Soccer is actually a game, and it's not some kind of weird situation where the title is misleading or poorly translated. No, this is actually soccer featuring Mega Man characters. Released on the Super Nintendo in 1994, it has to be one of the strangest spin-off side project ideas I've ever heard of. Although the expectation, I'm sure, is for this game to essentially be a wacky, cartoonish, arcade-style soccer game with robots wiping each other out with special weapons on their way to scoring a goal, we instead get a fairly realistic sim arcade hybridish kind of thing. There are special attacks, though. You couldn't have killer robots playing around with a ball the whole time, could you? There's an element of strategy too, as different players have different attributes, and there are multiple formations you can choose from, not to mention making substitutions at halftime. A strange thing though is the inability to completely customize your team. In exhibition mode, you can select between 20 characters, including Mega Man, Proto Man, and many of the Robot Masters from previous Mega Man games. But the player you take for a specific position is copied all the way across the board. I don't want two airmans, or airmen I guess, to play as my defenseman. I want one airman and one of somebody else. It's one thing to be able to play using clones, but in this game you're fucking obligated to. In the championship mode, which I'll get into in a little bit, you have to start the game with your team entirely made up of all Mega Man. There is a reason for this though. In this mode, you pick an opponent, similar to traditional Mega Man games. Your opponent will have his own team, partially made up of clones. Once you defeat him, you'll recruit him onto your team, kinda like how you take their special weapon. Once you get through all of them, your team is fully assembled, and you move on to the final games, similar to the Dr. Wily levels. It's unique, but still odd. What's even more odd is the fucking plot behind this. Yes, there is a story here. A regular soccer match is invaded by Dr. Wily's robots. Why? Nobody seems to know. But Mega Man needs to come to the rescue. But Dr. Light, sensing Mega Man can't defeat all the robots on his own, even though he has so many times in the past, reprograms him into a fucking soccer player so he can beat them in a game. That'll show him. They don't explain all the frickin' cloning though, but as Nigel Tufnell would say, that's a mystery best left unsolved. There's also a league mode where 8 teams play each other in round-robin format, and an 8-team tournament mode. Now for the gameplay itself, it's alright. You have pretty good control of the players, the graphics are really good, and there's a lot of variety with the scenery. There's quite a few fields with various themes. But with the quote-unquote camera so close to the action, you do find yourself looking up at the map too often to find a nearby teammate to pass it to. And on defense, you're having to shuffle the buttons on the D-pad to find the nearest player on your team when the ball gets passed. So while there is a sense of strategy in the areas I previously mentioned, these flaws lead to some button mashing, kicking the ball aimlessly and hoping for the best. The soundtrack is pretty good too. I mean, there are no iconic songs on here at all like in the classic Mega Man soundtracks, but it's a good fit for the game. It doesn't hold my interest long enough to warrant playing through a whole season of the League mode or anything like that, but it's a fun little novelty game that's good for a change of pace, particularly against a human opponent. And that wraps up this edition of Aqualung's Game Reviews. See you next time.